Assalamu alaikum everyone, myself Sumbal Talib, and today I'll discuss about nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are basically complex organic thread-like biopolymers that are made up of multiple subunits. Well, they are classified as deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. They are made up of three structural subunits like sugar component, bases, and the phosphate groups. If we see the bases, there are two types of bases, purines and pyrimidines. Purines are double ring structure. A 5-member structure ring is attached to the 6-member structure ring. They are adenine and guanine. If we see the pyrimidine, there are thymine, cytosine and uracil. Uracil is used in RNA while thymine is used in DNA. If we see the sugars, they are pentose sugars are used, ribose and deoxyribose. Ribose is used in RNA while deoxyribose is used in DNA. Nucleic acids are formed by the multiple units of nucleotides. Nucleotide is made up of base, sugar and phosphate group. But if we remove the phosphate group from this group, then it will be said as nucleoside, that is made up of base and sugar. Here you can see the illustration in which DNA is converted into RNA through transcription by using RNA polymerase enzyme in the nucleus of the cell, while RNA is translated into protein in the cytoplasm of the cell. There are three types of RNA: messenger RNA, transfer RNA and ribosomal RNA. Well, if we talk about their function, messenger RNA acts as a messenger and it carries genetic information from DNA to ribosome for the protein synthesis, while transfer RNA brings amino acid to ribosome during translation or protein synthesis mechanism, while ribosomal RNA provides structural framework for the ribosomes. DNA replication is an essential part for biological inheritance in which identical replicas of DNA are produced from the original DNA molecule using DNA polymerase enzyme. Now, if you see the left side of the illustration, you can see the two strands of DNA from 5' to 3' and 3' to 5' that are complementary to each other according to the base pairs. Like cytosine form bond with the guanine, while adenine form bond with the thymine. It is to be noted that adenine and thymine form 2 hydrogen bonds, while guanine and cytosine form 3 hydrogen bonds. Now, if you see the messenger RNA strand, then thymine is being replaced with uracil and form bond with the adenine using 2 hydrogen bonds. Then messenger RNA carry this information of genetic coding to the ribosome, thus forming the polypeptide chain. Let's talk about the biological functions of the nucleotides. Nucleotides act as a building block of nucleic acid, DNA and of RNA. Of course, they are the structural subunit of DNA and RNA. Nucleotides involved in energy storage, muscle contraction, active transport and maintenance of ion gradient across the cell membrane to maintain the gradients of ion for muscle contraction and relaxation. Well, they are the activated intermediates in biosynthesis, for example, UDP, glucose and S-adenosylmethionine. Now, we must know what is biosynthesis. Biosynthesis is the production of complex molecules within a living organism, for example, amino acid synthesis, nucleic acid synthesis, photosynthesis, etc. So, these nucleotides are used in this biosynthesis mechanism. Nucleotides are the components of coenzymes like NAD, NADP, FAD, FMN and coenzyme A. Now let's see what are these coenzymes and what does coenzyme means. Well, coenzyme is an organic non-protein compound that binds with enzyme to catalyze a reaction. Now these examples that are mentioned here, NAD+ is a nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It is a critical coenzyme found in every cell in your body and it is involved in hundreds of metabolic processes, but its level declines with the age. Now, what is NADP? It is a nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. It is a coenzyme that functions as a universal electron carrier. It accepts electron and hydrogen bond to form NADPH by reduction mechanism. What is FAD? FAD is a flavin adenine dinucleotide. It is a redox active coenzyme associated with various proteins and it is involved in several important enzymatic reactions in metabolism. and FMN is a flavin mononucleotide. Basically what happens, vitamin B2 that is called as riboflavin is the precursor of these two enzymes FMN and FAD. Conversion occur in small intestine, liver, heart and kidney to form these coenzymes. Coenzyme A has a major role in the synthesis and the oxidation of fatty acids. It also involved in the oxidation of pyruvate in the citric acid cycle. Nucleotides are also used as metabolic regulators, and metabolic regulators are those molecules that regulate metabolism in response to energy demand and supply. For example, secondary messenger like cyclic AMP, that is cyclic adenosine monophosphate, and cyclic GMP, that is cyclic guanosine monophosphate. Cyclic AMP is synthesized from ATP and it is involved in the intracellular signal transduction and is used for the regulation of glycogen, sugar and lipid metabolism. While cGMP, that is cyclic guanosine monophosphate, it is derived from cGTP and it is involved in the glycogenolysis, that is the breakdown of glycogen into glucose, and the cellular apoptosis, that is programmed cell death of the cell. The secondary messengers are the intracellular signaling molecules that are released by the cell in response of exposure to extracellular signaling molecules. Well, they can be used as phosphate donor in signal transduction by the conversion of ATP into ADP and the release of phosphate group. They regulate some enzyme by the process of adenylation and uridylation. Now, if we see the structure of coenzyme A, it consists of beta-mercaptoethylamine and pantothenic acid and then two phosphate groups that are attached to ADP. This ADP is 3-phospho-ADP because at the third position of adenosine, phosphate group is attached. Thus, it is called as 3-phosphoadenosine diphosphate. That it combinedly form a coenzyme A. Well, coenzyme A is a carrier for acetyl units in intermediary metabolism and it involves in the fatty acid synthesis and oxidation. Now let's see the structure of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It consists of nicotinamide group, adenine and phosphates. Let's go through the structure of flavin adenine dinucleotide. You can see it is the derivative of riboflavin, that is vitamin B2. Now in the pink shady area you can see the ribose sugar and the adenine base that is attached to the phosphate, two phosphate groups that further attach to the precursor of riboflavin. Let's see the regulatory signaling molecule structure, that these are also called as secondary messengers like cyclic AMP and cyclic GMP. In this structure, the adenine and the guanine bases are attached to the phosphate group in the form of cyclic ring. And in the guanosine tetraphosphate, 4 phosphate groups are attached to the guanine ring. If you see the sugar structure, there are two types of sugars, ribose and deoxyribose. In deoxyribose sugar, there is oxygen is removed at the second position carbon. Let's see how a nucleotide is formed. If we consider a pentose sugar called ribose, you can see the numbering of these ribose sugar as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 prime. At the 5 prime, phosphate group will be attached. On the other side, at the number 1 carbon, purine or pyrimidine base will be attached. But it will form beta glycosidic bond. I mean, why beta but not alpha? When hydroxyl group is present at the upper side of the anomeric carbon, then it will form beta glycosidic bond. However, if the hydroxyl group is present at the lower side of the anomeric carbon, then it will form alpha glycosidic bond. Here you can see the carbon 1 is the anomeric carbon because it is directly attached to the carbonyl. So here you can see that base will be attached to the sugar and sugar unit will be attached to the phosphate group. See that phosphate and the sugar will form the backbone of the nucleic acid, while the base will be pointed toward the other base that is complementary to this one in the antiparallel strand of the DNA. As we know that DNA is a double helical structure, so both the bases from the strands will be complementary to each other. For example, adenine will form bond with the thymine and cytosine will form the bond with the guanine. These are the structures of the purines and pyrimidine bases. You can see that purines are the double ring structure. One is single 6-membrane ring is attached to the 5-membrane ring, and the numbering start from the 6-membrane ring. From 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be in the 6-membrane ring structure, and the 7, 8, 9 corners of the carbon will be from the 5-membrane ring. It includes adenine and guanine. If you see the pyrimidines, it includes cytosine, uracil and thymine. Uracil will be in RNA while thymine will be in the DNA. If you see that mnemonics are basically used to remember the names of purines and pyrimidine. For example, pyrimidine are the exact half of the purines, like they are the cut form of the purines. Then you can remember the cut, C-U-T. C for cytosine, U for uracil and T for thymine. Similarly, purines are the pure, P-U-R-E, pure from the purines. They contain both 6-membrane ring and the 5-membrane ring attached to each other. This will increase your knowledge and also helps in remembering these names. These are some of the structures of deoxyribonucleotides. As we know that nucleotides include phosphate group, sugar group and the bases. But if we see the nucleoside, it doesn't include the phosphate group. That means the pinky area used in this figure is the nucleoside, while if we see the complete area including the phosphate group, then it will form the nucleotide. Why it is called a deoxyribonucleotide? Because the sugar group present here at the carbon number 2, oxygen is not present. That means deoxyribose. This is called as deoxyribose sugar. Similarly, these are the ribonucleotides, same as the previous slide, but the only difference is that the sugar used here is ribose sugar and oxygen is present at the carbon number 2 of this sugar. So here you will got to know how nucleosides and nucleotides are named in case of RNA and DNA. For example, if we have base adenine, it will be called as adenosine as nucleoside in case of RNA and deoxyadenosine as nucleoside in case of DNA, while its nucleotide will be called as adenylate in case of RNA and deoxyadenylate in case of DNA. If we see the guanine base, guanosine will be called as nucleoside in case of RNA, while it will be deoxyguanosine in case of DNA. Its nucleotide will be called as guanylate and deoxyguanylate in case of DNA. In case of pyrimidines, the nucleoside of cytosine base will be called as cytidine in case of RNA and deoxycytidine in case of DNA, while its nucleotide will be called as cytidylate in case of RNA and deoxycytidylate in case of DNA. Similarly, thymine and uracil will be called accordingly. Now let's understand the structure of nucleotides. If you see that ribose sugar is attached to base on one side and on the other side phosphate groups are attached, alpha, beta and gamma phosphate. If we consider only one phosphate group, then this will form a nucleoside monophosphate, that is NMP. And if two phosphate groups are considered, it will form NDP, that is nucleoside diphosphate. If all of these three phosphates will be considered along with ribose sugar and base, it will be called as nucleoside triphosphate. Similarly, if you see the table here, the abbreviation for DNA and RNA, nucleosides and nucleotides, it will be said as adenine will be called as AMP in case of single phosphate, and in case of 2 phosphate group it will be called as ADP. In case of 3 phosphate group it will be called as ATP. Similarly, guanine, cytosine, uracil will be called according to their phosphate groups. If you see down, in case of deoxyribonucleoside 5-phosphate, if you see the adenine, in case of having one phosphate group, it will be called as deoxy-AMP, DAMP, deoxyadenosine monophosphate. And if you see the guanine, if it has one phosphate group, it will be called as DGMP, that is deoxyguanosine monophosphate. Similarly, if it has 2 phosphate group, it will be called as DGDP, that is deoxyguanosine diphosphate, and so on. If it has 3 phosphate group, it will be said as DGTP, that is deoxyguanosine triphosphate. Similarly, same nomenclature will be continued in cytosine and thymine in DNA. Now, if you see the structure of nucleic acid, it includes both DNA and RNA. The differences in both the DNA and RNA include the sugar difference, that is deoxy sugar in DNA and ribose sugar in RNA. Similarly, the difference in the bases is that uracil is present in the RNA while thymine is present in the DNA. Here you can see the strand of DNA. It starts from the 5' of the phosphate group to the 3' of the sugar base. The backbone of the nucleic acid is formed by the sugar and the phosphate group that is constant in both DNA and RNA. A phosphodiester bond will join the 3-ribose oxygen of one nucleotide to the phosphate attached to the 5' oxygen of another. You can clearly see the phosphodiester bond that is formed in DNA, that is shown by the gray region. The phosphodiester linkage that is present in the backbone of the nucleic acid has a negative charge. That means it repels the nucleophilic species, that includes all the species having negative charge like hydroxyl group. And this bond can be broken down by chemicals and enzymes like deoxyribonuclease, ribonuclease, endonuclease, and exonuclease and restriction endonucleases. If you see the double helical structure of the DNA, you can clearly see the two complementary strands of DNA, one starting from the 5' to 3' and other from 3' to 5'. Here you can see that different base pairing occur that are complementary to each other. For example, guanine will form 3 hydrogen bonds with the cytosine, while the adenine will form 2 hydrogen bonds with the thymine. The properties of DNA double helix. Strands are antiparallel to each other, and these strands are complementary, like all the base pairing will be complementary to each other. Cytosine will form bond with the guanine and adenine will form bond with the thymine, and these bonding will occur through hydrogen bonding. And there are base stacking interaction. Now let's see what's base stacking interaction. Base pairs are planar, and these planes stack over the other at a distance of 3.4 angstrom, that is quite too low, thus creating van der Waals interaction. These interactions are also called as base stacking interaction, and there are 10 base pairs each turn. Messenger RNA. Messenger RNA is a single-stranded RNA that carries genetic sequence of a gene, and it is read by the ribosome in the process of producing proteins. It contains protein coding information like ATG, that is a start codon, and there are 3 stop codons including UAA, UAG, and UGA. A cistron is the unit of RNA that encodes one polypeptide chain. That means a one polypeptide chain present in RNA is called as cistron. In prokaryotic mRNA, there are polycistronic, that means it has multiple polypeptides, while eukaryotic messenger RNA are monocistronic, that means it only contains one polypeptide chain. While messenger RNA do not go for the 3D structure, that is also beneficial, while RNA stability termination, RNA editing, and RNA splicing. Now, what does it mean, RNA editing and RNA splicing? RNA splicing means it is a process that removes the introns, that is non-coding sequence of genes, from pre-messenger RNA, and it joins the exon, that is protein coding sequence, in order to enable translation of messenger RNA to proteins. Now let's see RNA editing. RNA editing includes discrete changes made in specific nucleotide sequence in the RNA after it has been generated by the RNA polymerase. It includes insertion, deletion, and base substitution. Transcription of DNA molecules result in messenger RNA molecule that is a single-stranded, and RNA molecule do not have a regular structure like DNA double helical structure. The structure of RNA molecules are complex and unique. As you can see, at some places there is bulging and internal loops, external loops that looks like a hairpin. So this is the complex structure of messenger RNA. RNA molecules can base pair with complementary DNA or RNA sequence, like they form sequence with RNA in case of translation, while they form sequence with DNA in case of transcription. Here you can see that guanine form bond with cytosine, adenine form pairs with the uracil, while there is another exception that guanine may form pairs with the uracil as seen in the figure, that double bond formed between the guanine and the uracil. So here you see the messenger RNA coding patterns. In case of monocistronic, there is a single cistron unit in the RNA that encodes one polypeptide chain having one gene only. While in case of polycistronic, there are multiple polypeptide units encoding different genes. Finally, here you can see how transcription and translation process occur. Here you can see the DNA present in nucleus. The instruction to make proteins are present in the DNA in the form of genes. So, a gene is continuous stream of nucleotide containing a region that codes for an RNA molecule. So, formation of messenger RNA from the DNA occurs through the process of transcription using RNA polymerase enzyme. As you can see in the figure, there is a particular codon present in the messenger RNA complementary to the codon of the DNA that form the messenger RNA elongation, starting from initiation, elongation, and after its formation the process will be terminated using termination. Then messenger RNA will be formed in the premature form. That premature messenger RNA will be spliced, and then the messenger RNA will be formed. Splicing occurs because to remove intron and to join exons. As we know that introns are the non-coding sequences of the gene, while exons are the protein coding sequences present in the messenger RNA. So now messenger RNA leaves the nucleus and goes to the cytoplasm. We must know the genetic code includes 64 codons on a messenger RNA. After that, during the process of translation, messenger RNA binds to the smaller subunit of ribosome. Now transfer RNA goes to the messenger RNA having complementary anticodon sequences. After that, the now large ribosomal subunit binds to form translational complex. In the same way, more transfer RNA come to bind more amino acid to form peptide bond and elongation continued. In the end, stop codon come and polypeptide chain will be released. This is all about transcription and translation. Thank you for your precious time. Goodbye and good luck.